All right, so what we're doing here is not a speed run. I know you can see live split in the background there, back there, but I'll get to that in just a second. So you're looking at the drop table for Zelda on the NES. Um, and what I'm trying to do here is essentially create an optimal path for grinding out money from mobs. Now, I realize largely in the first quest, you don't have to do this. You're going to get all your money um, through finding secret doors and whatnot in the overworld, or gambling. And then the second quest, I don't really know. I don't follow the speed running on this, but I probably should just to get a better grip on things. But and indeed, this chart here is actually one of the speed running tools that they use to keep track of kills and drops. So anyway, as you can see, column C here is the optimal. Clearly, enemies in the C column are the ones that drop, the most money, or most likely to drop more money. So what I have done here is, if we come over to the map that I've created here, I've created two paths, and there's a couple of variations on this you can do. Your mileage may vary, type thing. But what this path does is it essentially carries you through every. If we go back to the enemy chart, you can see that as far as overworld enemies go, the blue Tektite and the red lever are in the C column here. So what we've done with this map here is we've essentially hit uh, as many of the blue Tektite screens, which I believe that's all of them actually. I think there's only 3 of them in the overworld. Because there's a lot of orange tektites, but there's only actually 3, I believe, right here, and right here. And the majority of the red lever screens, I believe there's 1 or 2 more screens that have red levers that this path doesn't entirely focus on. And this is the long path. There's what I want to see is what the difference is, because this here is the short path. Now, what's going on, and part of the reason this path is the way it is, in order for enemies to respawn, I believe you have to pass through 8 unique screens. At least that's the number I've seen in a number of places as far as getting enemies to respawn. You have to pass through 8 unique screens. So if we start over here next to the where we begin, you can see we got 1, 2, 3, and then I dip very briefly. You'll notice this little tail on the right over here. I dip very briefly into that screen because that is a red lever screen. I believe that screen either has 4 or 6 red levers. So it's actually worth the very brief, because all you got to do is go onto the screen and then come right back, and then you go up, back through the blue tektites at the top here, and then back down and around. And as you can see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 screens. So by the time you get back around to this screen to the right of the starting area, everything should have respawned at that point. So that brings in let me bring it up here, our live split. What I want to do, I'm not speed running. This is not for speed running. As you can see, I've got 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 200 rupees, and 255. I'm actually using this as a timer. I'm going to run both of these paths and keep track of my times. I might actually do it like 3 times each. I don't see me doing it 5 times each, but 3 times each possibly. And essentially it's to figure out which path is the more optimal path. Is it this path here? Well, let me bring that back to the top again. Is it this path here, the short path? Which it might be. Believe it or not, the shorter path might actually be the better path. We're going to find out. Or is it this long path here? So, and there's probably other variables too, like whether or not you are using the wood sword or the white sword. I probably am going to do this with just the wood sword for brevity's sake, and then I might come back at a later date and do a white sword version. Hell, might even do a magical sword version. Who knows? But we're going to find out. We're going to find out which path is the optimal path. And that's coming up, who knows, sometime in the next 10 years or so. All right? See you next time. Remember, don't like, don't subscribe. In fact, what are you doing here? God, get a job.